Hey, welcome to SI Now. It is Friday, June 16th, and I'm Maggie Gray. To everyone watching on Facebook Live, well, hello, welcome, thank you for stopping by. Coming up on today's show, a legendary appearance by ring announcer Michael Buffer that I guarantee you do not want to miss. But first, the Warriors held their championship parade yesterday. Officials estimate that 1 million people attended the festivities, and they were treated to some rousing smack talk from who else? Draymond Green.
I want you to break down the T-shirt.
Well, the Q, that's what those guys arenas called. We got him out here quick with the trophy, quickie.
They
want to talk about super teams this, super team that. I never played on the super team. You started the super team, bro. I ain't joined the super team. Hey, Slim. Hey, Slim. I don't know what you just did, Slim, but you did something to them boys. We appreciate you joining the super team. I never played on the super team. That's crazy. Give credit where credit due. We ain't had no #1 picks to build this thing. We just put it together. So like I said, quickie, I'm out.
LeBron James not having it, writes back on Instagram. That's what she said to Draymond Green's quickie shirt. Of course, didn't stop there because this is Draymond Green and this is LeBron James. So LeBron showed us what he was up to while the Warriors were celebrating.
Jack portfolio. So you
Biggest takeaway there, yeah, LeBron James got a haircut. Draymond Green said Dubs finally made him go bald. I think it's a good look for LeBron James, and I have a feeling that this smack talk is going to go on all summer long. Our Facebook question to you is, who wins the war of words this time? Was it Draymond or LeBron? Go ahead, start commenting. Tell us what you think. In the meantime, Luis Miguel Echegaray is here. I'm going to get better at that last name.
I think you're doing a great job.
Head of Spanish and Latino content for Sports Illustrated. We're going to talk a little soccer, but I know you're a big NBA fan, so who do you think wins that war of words?
Well, listen, I mean, we all know how good Draymond is, right, at smack talking, but I think you got to give it to LeBron, I think. The person that always has the last word, I think, is the winner. I think it was a quick, nice answer.
He went full like Michael Scott, from The Office. That's what she said. Okay, Confederations Cup begins this weekend. This is basically the tune-up for the 2018 World Cup in Russia. It's a dry run for the host country. So games are going to be played in 4 different venues all around the country. Now, Luis, Russian soccer fans have a very bad reputation. The hooliganism, racism. How concerned are Russian officials that they may embarrass themselves in this Confederations Cup?
I mean, the first angle I think that we have to take is that obviously FIFA, being who they are also taking a lot of responsibility, making sure that the entire tournament, is being taken to the highest, of the serious level. I mean, let's not forget also that Russia, for the hooliganism and the issues that they've had in the past, they're not the only nation that go through this. So, but they're taking it very seriously for sure, 100%.
Okay, which team has the most to prove in this tournament?
So, when you think about this tournament, I think that you have to look at people like Chile. I think you have to look at Portugal, the European champions. And even though they're bringing a team that's, young and inexperienced, Germany is still somebody to talk about.
Okay, Germany, we'll think about that. I want to follow up, though, on Portugal because we're getting some news just this morning or afternoon in Europe that Cristiano Ronaldo may not want to be returning to Real Madrid. He does not want to play in Spain at all anymore, does not want to play for La Liga anymore. Obviously, these reports are all very early, but what's your reaction to them?
Well, listen, the first thing that I think everybody needs to understand is that Cristiano Ronaldo has a tendency to overreact when it comes to things that are attacking him professionally, personally, right? So this is not the first time where we've heard things like, oh, I want to leave or I want to move on or something. Now, obviously, the harder implication is the fact that it's coming from the tax allegations, defrauding the Spanish courts for more than $16 million and stuff. So, there is definitely some serious talk about this. But we do need to remember that when he was playing for Manchester United, he fell in love with that city and he fell in love with its people. So I know for a fact, I don't know for a fact, but I do believe very closely that I think that the end of his career is going to end up in Manchester. So, I mean, whether he leaves now because of what's happening or later, I think eventually he will definitely want to finish his career with Real Madrid.
Well, he's clearly the biggest prize for any football club. So besides Manchester, who he has a sentimental attachment to, are there any other clubs that would be in play for Ronaldo?
Well, PSG will obviously be a team that, since they lost Ibrahimovic, even though they have Cavani, they still are looking for that star player, that star athlete that the team can rally around. I mean, I think that PSG would be a good move. I mean, David Beckham did the same thing, obviously, even though for not that longer time. But I think Ligue 1, Ligue 1, Monaco, PSG, or Manchester United. Those are my three targets, I think, if he left Real Madrid.
Okay, so we're going to keep our eye on that. Meanwhile, Real just won Champions League. So the timing of this is all just a little bit strange. Going back to Confederations Cup, we digress for a second. Mexico, they are bringing all of their firepower. They are bringing their A game to this tournament. What are they hoping to prove? To me, I think that Juan Carlos Osorio, who's the coach, he wants to bring his strongest squad for two reasons. One, I think it's the best preparation possible for the World Cup. They're definitely paying more attention to the Confederations Cup more than the Gold Cup. So yes, like you said, they're bringing their A squad. I think that they can go very far. I mean, the toughest opposition in their group to me is Portugal, and which is the first game that they're playing. But they will get out of that group, I think. And I think they can go at least to the semifinals if they play well. Very interesting. Our Brian Strauss writing yesterday for SI.com how the coach for Mexico essentially said after they were embarrassed by Chile, losing 7-0, he said we didn't have a plan B. We didn't have a plan C. Now they feel like they do. We'll see if they put that to use in this Confederations Cup. Finally, people are sort of split on how much we should take away from this tournament. We've seen that it's really not an indicator of how well you're going to fare in the World Cup. How seriously are you taking this tournament? Well, I take it actually pretty seriously, maybe more than other critics or journalists. To me, the Confederations Cup is, yes, it's a dress rehearsal for the World Cup, but to me, actually, it's a great tournament where you can essentially discover delivery versus experimentation. And what I mean by that is that you have your Mexicos and your Chiles who are bringing their best team, but also you have people like Germany who want to see what can we do when we don't have our A game. So it's a great opportunity to see so much undiscovered talent and what they can offer, and if they get a ticket to Russia for next year. All right, Luis Miguel Echegaray. Perfect. Getting better. Thank you, Luis. Great to see you, and thank you for being here. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
They just parachuted out. They just parachuted out. Do you see them? They just parachuted out. Oh my God. Oh my God. Scary moment at the U.S. Open. A commercial blimp caught fire and crashed roughly a half mile from Erin Hills Golf Course in Wisconsin. That's the site of this year's second major tournament. The pilot parachuted out of the blimp to safety, although he did sustain substantial injuries. Our own Ryan Asselta is at Erin Hills. He joins me now. Ryan, we know golfers are incredibly superstitious, so you can't have a worse omen than something bursting into flames. Did this set a very somber tone to the first day of the tournament?
Maggie, I don't know if it set a somber tone, but this is not what the U.S. Open needed with all the extra distractions and controversy over the last couple of years. It started off kind of eerie feeling with the blimp going down. Luckily, the pilot, as you said, made it through. He had some injuries since he's in stable condition. And the blimp was not affiliated with the U.S. Open at all. It wasn't a television blimp. It wasn't a sponsor blimp. It was a private company. So really had nothing to do with the U.S. Open other than being very close. As you can see right there, how close to the golf course it is. You could actually see it from one of the tee boxes, the blimp going down. But many of the players said they didn't even notice it. They weren't distracted by it. So we're moving on, and hopefully the pilot will make it through okay as well. Yeah, we're all hoping that. Let's talk about this course. Roughly 8,000 yards, 5 miles long. It is a monster, yet
surrendered very low scores in round one. What have officials done to try to make the course tougher from here on out?
Well, their hands are kind of tied a little bit. It is a long course, but they played it almost to its max yesterday, just over 7,700 yards. It maxes out at just over 7,800. So you can't get a whole lot longer. It is a big piece of property here in rural Wisconsin at Erin Hills, a first-time host of the U.S. Open. What the USGA can do to kind of protect par, like they like to say, is, they're going to put some tricky pin locations. There's a few of them out there today for round two that are going to be a little tougher on the golfers. Other than that, Mother Nature needs to cooperate. It is placid right now. There is barely any wind. We got rain earlier in the week, which softened the conditions, and that led to what we saw yesterday. 44 golfers under par in round one. That's the most ever in round one in U.S. Open history. And 7 under par for Ricky Fowler. That ties the low round ever in the first round of a U.S. Open. So usually we're used to seeing maybe 10 to 15 rounds under par on day one, and then the USGA kind of toughens things up. Well, they got a lot of toughening to do because 44 golfers is not what Mike Davis and company had in mind for day one of the U.S. Open.
No, and that's always the MO of the U.S. Open. It's the toughest golf course because they make the roughs really high and the grass is always long. You mentioned Ricky Fowler, Ryan. We made him our adrenaline performer. You know it's presented by Toyota. Let's go places. You mentioned 7 under after 18 holes. Fowler, 28 years old, one of the young stars of the tour. Is this his time to win his first major?
Well, Maggie, it sure feels like it's his time. This is a guy who's peaking at the right time. He won the Honda back in the spring. He was runner-up at the Memorial just a couple weeks ago. He won the Players' Championship over the last few years, and he is tops on that list. We talk about the list all the time. Best player never to win a major. Sergio Garcia owned that title for quite a long time. He wins the Masters in April. Ricky Fowler vaults up to number 1 on that list, and all of a sudden, he sits with the lead at the U.S. Open. He really deserved that adrenaline performance. 7 under par. He missed only 2 fairways yesterday, and I know they're a little wider than most U.S. Opens, but that still takes a lot of accuracy and a lot of confidence in your game to come out to a U.S. Open and just start throwing darts out there. Ricky was really playing good golf. It's been coming for a while, and you talk about his popularity. He may be the most popular player on tour. He's connected with that younger audience with his flashy outfits. Of course, we'll see the all-orange, I think, on Sunday from Ricky. He's ready. He was in the second-to-last group at the Masters this year. He had a tough Sunday, 76. He finished 11th at the Masters. He had top 5s in all 4 majors just a couple years ago. This is a guy who's tested. When you look at a guy who's kind of peaking in that direction, it's Ricky Fowler, and it may be his time. He's played enough of big events to know the pressure and how to deal with it. So it may be his weekend.
Yeah, love that all orange. Homage to Oklahoma State, his alma mater. Okay, familiar names all struggled, including Rory McIlroy, Dustin Johnson, and Jason Day. Can any of them, Ryan, play their way back into contention?
Man, the top 3 in the world go 16 over par on day one. I don't know if they can all play themselves back into contention. When you break them down, here's the deal. Dustin Johnson, he'll probably play well today. He's just too good, and this course sets up too well for him to kind of go out like that. I expect Dustin to play well on day 2, make the cut. Rory McIlroy and Jason Day, kind of a different story. Let's start with Rory here. He hasn't played a whole lot. He had this rib injury that's been nagging him the last few months. He admitted he hasn't practiced as much, hasn't played as much. He got married recently, so he had a lot of other things going on in his life. And we saw it yesterday. He was rusty. He was driving the ball into that notorious fescue that's about up to his waist. You play out of there, you're going to be going home early. Jason Day, same thing. He had a lot going on in his life with the health of his mom. Started playing some better golf the last couple weeks. So I'm kind of surprised Jason struggled. And he was really struggling. He was in the fescue, the bunkers. Both guys, it looks like there's a lot of rust. Rory actually said there is a lot of rust to his game, and he credited that to his play yesterday. You can't come to a U.S. Open and be rusty and have a little sloppy play. The courses just don't allow you to get away with that like they do on some other tour events. So I say Dustin makes a run, makes the cut. The other 2 may be heading home after this afternoon.
That is an unforgiving. They say the Midwest is friendly, not Erin Hills. Unforgiving course.
The people, Maggie. The people are friendly. The golf course can be very, very unfriendly. Yes.
Well, Ryan, enjoy round 2. Really appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Meg.
This Saturday night, a light heavyweight rematch that is certainly going to grab the sports world's attention. It is Andre Ward and Sergey Kovalev 2. It's happening in Las Vegas, Nevada. Let's head there, courtesy of Toyota. Let's go places, and Andre Ward, good enough to join us. Andre, before we can talk about the fight, we've got to offer you some congratulations. Your hometown Golden State Warriors winning their second championship in 3 years, I'm sure, is a thrill. Did you expect the team to win it all so easily this year?
I mean, coming off of last year, I think all of us, were cautiously optimistic. We definitely felt like we had the edge, and we definitely felt like we were going to do it. But, you just kind of reserve the celebration until it's official. And now it's official, so we get to celebrate.
Some believe Kevin Durant has now overtaken LeBron James as the best player on the planet. Do you believe this, or does the crown still belong to King James?
It's hard to say, who's the best in the world because they're both tremendous athletes. I will say that, I don't think, KD, even, before the finals MVP, I don't think he gets the credit that he deserves, and the way he plays. It's always kind of a butt after, but I think he showed, on the biggest stage against the player that everybody says is the greatest in the world, which is LeBron, and he is a tremendous, tremendous athlete and player that he belongs in the discussion. So both guys are great guys. Both guys are tremendous athletes, tremendous basketball players. It's hard to say, who's the best. I think they both are, man. They're both tremendous.
Okay, now you are a true fan. You've seen the good and the bad of the Warriors over the last few decades. Where is Durant now on the pantheon of Warriors players? Is he already an all-time great after winning a Finals and Finals MVP?
I mean, it's a lot of great Warriors players that have gone before him, even before the Steph and the Clays and those kind of guys. So it's hard to say. It's really hard when you start to look at history and try to compare those kind of different things in different eras. But I think for a guy like Kevin, and even for myself, just being in the discussion is enough. Just being mentioned amongst the greats and even being, again, just mentioned in the discussion is enough and shows you what he's about. So I think that's where the focus should be.
Okay, that's really interesting. So you'll be satisfied if you're just in the discussion as the best ever? You don't feel like you need to be recognized as the greatest of all time?
Yeah, because, I mean, first and foremost, I have so much respect for the guys that have gone before me. So in some cases, it's almost blasphemous to say I'm better than, this guy or that guy. I'm just, I know what I bring to the table, and I know, what I have in the tank, and I know what I've accomplished. But I'm just not, I don't have to push myself to the front of the line when it comes to history. I mean, I'm just thankful, man, to be in a discussion, and to be named amongst some great fighters.
Appreciate you sharing that perspective. Looking at your fight, there are some out there that believe that Sergey Kovalev was robbed of a victory in your first match. How difficult or draining has it been having to answer questions about that match and people, frankly, questioning you as the champ as you've prepared for this fight?
Man, I get it. It comes with the territory, It's not the first close fight in boxing, and it certainly won't be the last. And anytime there's a close fight in the sport of boxing, you're gonna have people who have opinions, and it's all good. I don't knock it. I know what I did in the fight. If I felt like in my heart of hearts that I lost, I'd be the first to tell everybody, look, man, I didn't deserve this win. I'm that type of person. But I'm not going to apologize for digging deep and battling and coming from behind and winning, a tough victory. That's like asking Clemson, saying that Clemson doesn't deserve the victory against Alabama because Alabama hit Clemson in the mouth early. People thought it was over. In that second half, they came and they did what they had to do. So whether you win in a tight situation or whether you win by a landslide, as long as you win, that's the important thing.
Okay, first of all, great sports reference with Clemson. And yes, Phil Jackson used to do this when he was the coach of the Lakers or the Bulls, that he would try to sway public opinion by sending messages through the media that he hopes would get to the referees. After your last fight, Kovalev said he thought you were given the victory because all of the judges were from the United States. Now, by going there and by questioning that, did he cross the line with those comments?
It doesn't cross the line. I just think I don't know, it just shows a level of ignorance because, I mean, for the people who don't know how the boxing game works, his team, his promoter, his people, they agreed to those judges. So again, it's just another excuse. It's just something else to say. It's been a campaign that they've been on for the last 4 or 5 months. And really, to be honest with you, the campaign really shows me that, his team doesn't have the confidence that they say they have because they're banking that if it happens to be a close fight, which is my job to not make it as close as it was last time, they're hoping that they get the nod. This is a campaign that they've been on. I've been in boxing for almost 20 some odd years, and it's not the first time that I've seen this. But if you go back to pre-fight, the first time, he's praising being from America. He's saying that I want to come here and put my roots down here. I want to be an American star. But the one time things don't go your way, now they're against you. But we're not going to get caught up in that. We're not going to get in the pig pen and get dirty with these people. This is how they do business. And you see people's true colors when things don't go their way. My focus is Saturday. My focus is the performers. My focus was the preparation. So they can get all this energy out. They can try to put whatever they want out there. I don't believe Nevada's going to buy that. I think they're smarter than that. I think they're going to put the right judges in there. And I think everybody's going to judge the fight the way that they're supposed to accordingly.
This is really a great time to be a fan of boxing. Of course, we have Mayweather and McGregor. We also have Triple G and Canelo Alvarez, with so many mega fights now being advertised this year. Tell us why Ward Kovalev 2 should be the most watched.
Because I think what you see is what you get. It's like the first time around. You got, a fighter in myself who has, a great resume, coming up in weight, challenging, the boogeyman. And going straight after him. I didn't dance around him. I came and knocked on his door and said, "Hey, I'm new to the neighborhood. Let's play." And that shocked a lot of people. And then the way that the fight went showed that it was a tremendous matchup. And then everything that transpired after the fight, which are things you can't really, make up. There's real bad blood. We don't like his side. He don't like our side. It's nothing personal from my side, but just there's a level of disdain. We're getting ready to fight. I just think everything that maturated since the first fight has got people excited about this fight. And again, it is what it is. Like, what you see and what's being said about this fight is real.
Andre Ward, good luck this Saturday night against Sergey Kovalev in Las Vegas. It is the rematch. Kovalev Ward 2. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, you may not know this, but legendary ring announcer Michael Buffer has trademarked the phrase, "Let's get ready to rumble." And that means you have to pay him handsomely if you want him to say it. So considering we really don't have the budget for that at SI Now, we asked Buffer to improvise when he stopped by our studio.
Let's get ready to bumble! Let's get ready to fumble!
I have never seen this before in my life.
Let's get ready to tumble! Oh my God. Let's get ready to mumble! Let's get ready to stumble!
The young woman wearing that pink skirt, there she goes.
Let's get ready for gumbo!
That's bro, exactly right.
Let's get ready to dumbo!
I have no intention of going to Azkaban.
Mark Feinsand, 16 years and counting you've been covering the New York Yankees. Now you've put all this knowledge into this fantastic book, The New York Yankees Fans Bucket List. It's essentially like a travel guide for New York Yankee fans. Gives you everything you need to know about the stadium, how to get the best out of your experience there, and a couple other things to do if you want to take a road trip with the Yankees, which I really loved. Now, Aaron Judge is not featured in this book,
No.
But how would you compare the season that he is having to some of the all-time Yankee greats?
It's amazing. You think about what Gary Sanchez did last year, and everybody was saying, I've never seen anything like this. Until now, they're doing it again, and Aaron Judge is having that same kind of impressive start. Now, he had a little bit of time in the big leagues last year and really struggled, and I think when you see the adjustments he's made, you knew the power was there, but the fact that he's hitting for a high average, getting on base a lot, playing great defense, he's really become an all-around player. It's as impressive as anything I've ever seen from a rookie. We've seen the Yankees have some really big-time rookies, but none who were threatening triple crowns, 2.5 months into the season.
Now, you cover the team, or you have covered the team day in and day out, so maybe you have a different perspective on this. But on the outside, it still seems like
Derek Jeter is the face of the Yankees, even though he is retired. Is Aaron Judge the one who's going to bring the Yankees into a new era?
I think right now you'd have to look at him as that guy. Now, granted, he's only played 60 games in his career, 80 games,
what
whatever.
What are you saying? We're overreacting, Mark? Is that what you're accusing us of?
We never, especially in the New York media, we never do that. But I think when you look at him, the fact that he's just impressive to watch, people like watching him. His at-bats have become must-see TV. And the fact that, they've got a section in the stadium named for him now, and I know a lot of people criticize that. I loved it. I think the Yankees are embracing some of their new stars, embracing the fun of it, which they've been accused of not being fun for a long time. I think he's certainly the front runner if you're going to look for a candidate to take them into that next era. And the great thing about what they've got going right now is that they've got Greg Bird, they've got Gary Sanchez, they've got guys in the minor leagues, Gleyber Torres and Justice Sheffield coming up. There's hope for Yankee fans that there is another core, I'm not going to go with the core four thing, but another core of young players who can help lead them into that next generation.
Okay, if Aaron Judge, though, is going to be the leader of that next generation, we have to talk about the fame factor, which Jeter handled absolutely brilliantly. Matt Harvey tried with the Mets, and that has sort of flamed out. How do you think Judge will handle all this attention?
It's funny. When he started having his success this year, I think Joe Girardi made the comparison between him and Jeter. It was more of his mentality, his mindset, and his ability to block out the extraneous and focus on the game. He's a really good kid. He's got a good head on his shoulders, and I think he's taken this all in stride, and I think he's got the right mentality to handle everything that's going to be thrown at him. I think he's got sort of the right mindset to deal with it all. Matt Harvey, you saw, he loved being in front row at the Knick game, and he loved going to the Ranger game, and he loved being the celebrity. Aaron Judge has done a few things. He did the spot on Jimmy Fallon's show, and certainly isn't hiding from his newfound fame, but I don't think he's the guy who's going to be on Page 6 and dating supermodels and all that, and so out front about it. I think he understands, and the Yankees have done a good job in helping him understand how to handle some of this stuff. They went through it. They've had enough big stars to have had practice with it.
That's absolutely true. And one of the things in your book that you write about is Monument Park and how you have to go take a look at that if you go to a Yankee game. If Aaron Judge keeps going the way he's going, he will certainly have a bust. Park.
You would think if he continues doing what he's doing this season, they may do it like in 5 years. He's still playing.
Retire his number.
It's funny, when
they
retired Jeter's number last month, the question was, who's going to be the next number retired? We have no idea. I mean, 5 years ago, you would have said, well, Robinson Cano will have his number retired, but then he left. But it's hard to believe if Judge becomes this 40 to 50 home run monster, popular face of the franchise, that they would let him go anywhere.
Mark, congratulations on this great book, The New York Yankee Fans Bucket List. It's everything you have to do, see, buy, and eat if you are a true Yankee fan.
A lot of things to learn in the book. We tried to make it so you don't have to have money to do everything. So a lot of stuff you can do from the comfort of your own home to enhance your fandom as well.
Gosh, one thing that doesn't cost money in New York City. I don't know how you did it. What an achievement. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that's going to do it. It's Friday. We made it. We hope that you have a fantastic weekend. You can, of course, keep up with all the latest sports news on SI.com, and you can follow us on Twitter. We'd be so grateful at SI Now Live. We'll be back here at 10:30 a.m. on Monday. Hope to see you then.